Your thoughts on when you heard Nick Saban was retiring yesterday was what, Greg?
It's been a little bit, Rich, like a grieving process, frankly. I mean, it shouldn't be. We should be celebratory. That was my initial reaction is, man, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened, right? So cheesy, but at the same time, I was kind of the way I was trying to approach it. But it's just a huge loss for the sport. And frankly, as just a diehard football fan, to see Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, and Nick Saban all departing their respective jobs at the same time it's earth-shattering. I mean, my whole life has been made up of watching those guys succeed on the sideline. So at first it was shock. Secondly, it was disappointment. And now as I go through the grieving process, I'm starting to think about what's next and what could be coming for Alabama. Is exciting, but at the same time, it's nice to pay respects to a guy that just meant so much to me personally and so much to my alma mater.
What was it like being one of his first kids being coached up, Greg?
Well, it was really the opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, and he came in, and we all knew that he was a really good coach, and we knew he had an NFL pedigree, and we were very optimistic about the foundation he was laying. He put us through a lot. It wasn't always fun, Rich. It was not always fun, but we knew that if we worked hard and we did the things he asked us to do, the likelihood of success down the road was a real thing. And that was, I think, something that was so unique about the transition period, is that he just wanted to weed us out and see who could handle it mentally, physically, you name it. The first off season was grueling and probably about as painful as it could possibly get. We ended up losing the last 4 games of the regular season in 2007 because we just didn't have any legs. I mean, we were out of gas. Well, the next year we kind of understood how to go about it in a more efficient way, and we were able to manage it a little bit better. We ended up starting the season 12-0, but still couldn't finish. Lost the last 2 games of the season to both Florida and Utah, respectively, in the Sugar Bowl. So the following year, we knew we just had to do a little more, and we did. And we put everything into that season to beat Florida, to do the little bit extra, and ultimately get over the top when we won our first national championship there in 2009. But even the biggest Bama fan in the world probably wouldn't have told you at that point, hey, yeah, he's going to win 6 out of 12. To see to see the consistency and success without any drop off. And Rich, you know what to me says the biggest story is not the top 10 wins, not the top 5 wins, not the 9 wins over the AP number 1, which is just a ridiculous number. In 17 years, to have 9 wins against the AP number 1 is absurd. But when you think about the fact that when you can actually count the losses and think, oh, well, that was a miraculous circumstance. Johnny Manziel played out of his mind. Cam Newton played out of his mind. You had a kick 6. You had multiple overtime losses where a team had to go for 2 and win it. I mean, it was just mind-boggling when you can actually point to the losses and say, yeah, that was a remarkable Herculean feat. To be able to beat them the way they did. So he was an amazing coach, an amazing teacher, and a guy that I'm just so grateful to have had 4 years to spend with him.
And the number of losses so few that the number of first-round draft choices he sent to the pros outstrips it. He has more of that than losses. It truly is remarkable, Greg. And you were the first quarterback to victory formation take a knee and hand a football to Nick Saban in a national championship game or a BCS championship game, whatever you want to put it. What was that moment like for you?
It was amazing. But the way he operated, and Rich, I think most successful people are driven this way. You've been around so many incredible people. You've been around, Tom Brady. You've covered Tom Brady's career. You've covered so many people over the course of what I think is as good a career as you'll find in this industry. And the people that are different are the people that always have the mindset of, so what's next? It's like, all right, here's the Gatorade bath, coach. Here's the game ball. Yeah, but we got to get on the ground recruiting tomorrow. And he was just wired that way. I mean, Tom Brady, I think, was wired that way to an extent. It's like, yeah, winning 3 out of 4 was great, but you know what? We really should win 4 out of 5. And I think that's the way he has kind of been able to recharge on an annual basis. And that's why this kind of takes everyone aback a bit, because you just felt like the only thing that would fulfill him personally and professionally is continuing to coach. But I think he recognized that as the game changed beneath his feet, the time that it would take for him to coach the way he wants to coach is no longer doable at 72 years of age.
That's what I was going to ask you, Greg, is like, why now? Why do you think now? Is it the NIL, the portal? I mean, there's no rules, and he looks around and he doesn't see anybody that's going to actually lead on that front to come up with the guardrails that could allow a full, straight up competition to be on the same level for everyone. Is that what it is?
No, I don't think. I think if you held his feet to the fire, he would probably say that might have accelerated the decision process, perhaps. I think the guardrails is something he's been clamoring for. I think that having rules and regulations that everyone would adhere to, applying maybe an NFL style to the college game with salary cap and management and roster management, all those things would be beneficial to the sport. But I really think that, and he said it to some of his inner circle, that it really came down to recovery for him. I mean, he's going to work 14-hour days. He arrives at the facility at 7 o'clock a.m. every day. Today, even the first day of his retirement, he arrived at 7:16 a.m. Central Time, which to me, that's him. That's him. He's going to attack the day and ease in the transition. But I think a guy that's going to work 14-hour days, for a 72-year-old, it's a lot more difficult to recover and give the same level of effort and intensity to the next day's preparation at 72. So I think it was more just the hours and not being able to give the same level that he has given for so many years. He only knows how to do it a certain way, and he can no longer do that. So while I do think that the NIL might have accelerated things, I don't think that was solely the reason why he decided to step away.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.